Really interesting to me was how strong of a character Esther was after she had lost everything at the end of the play and her husband, all of her money that she'd saved up. She soldiered on and continued to do what she had been doing for so many years, which really showed to me how impressive she was as a main character as well as just a person, especially being based off of Lynn Nottage's actual grandmother. One value that was represented well was hard work, attached to Esther mainly, but also Mamie. Both of them worked incredibly hard to do their best with what they had, and another value that was represented was the hope that was shown by several characters. Mamie dreamed of being a piano player in Prague, and Esther dreamed of opening her own beauty parlor for African American women. And I thought that it was incredible just how both of them kept this dream, even though both of them knew that there was such a low chance that either of them would ever do it, and really didn't think that they would ever get to do that. Um, Something that I thought was interesting was that the word rag kept being used in place of tune or song. And I found out that it was referring to ragtime music, which was very popular among African American entertainers and was an important part of the culture in the early 1900s. And I thought that it was neat that Lynn Nottage chose to use this term instead of just calling them tunes or songs. Um, the relationship of Nottage's play to represent the African American experience was very interesting as well. I thought it reinforced many stereotypes. Obviously, the characters were so diverse that it couldn't possibly refer to all characters, but I know from my own personal experience, I've seen many famous African American athletes attribute their success to their very strong mothers. And Esther seems like another example of a very strong, independent woman who, despite having the odds against her, can still do great things and never gives up. Um, as far as stereotypes of African Americans and other groups, unfortunately, they do still exist today, and they are perpetuated by ignorance mostly. It's easy to assume things about people that you don't know and just go based on what other people have said and what's popular. Um, I know that specifically from my own opinions, I had some preconceived notions about international students that kept to themselves because I didn't know them, but now that I've gotten to know a lot more through classes and other clubs and organizations, I found that a lot of them can be a lot more friendly and personable than I ever would have imagined. So it really goes to show that even though stereotypes are common, they are not accurate almost ever. A couple questions I had. I wasn't sure why Esther continued to trust George. I know she was desperate, but she seemed delusional in the respect that she kept thinking that he'd come around and love her, despite the continued red flags. Another question I had was how Mamie never met George. Seeing as she was Esther's only real friend, how did she never meet her friend's husband? I understand that she didn't want to go to the wedding, but I wasn't sure how that was possible. Thanks.